Over a year ago, I accidentally stumbled into overlanding, and after a year of small trips, I figured it was finally time for an actual overland trip. In the end, my dad and I decided on taking a trip to the North Maine Woods to see the fall color. With us was Jared, his Turbo Diesel XJ, and his son. And without them, journeying this far from civilization could be sketchy. Weeks of preparation and planning were now taking effect as we neared our first location, the White Mountains of New Hampshire.
All ground in there, man.
How was your first percolating experience?
That was nasty. Just put the ground. I don't know how to do this.
So it's a fail.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still gonna drink it?
Yeah, I need that coffee, man. That morning coffee.
So last night around 12 a.m. we pulled into this campsite outside of the White Mountains. It's called Haystack Road. This is actually where I was supposed to be about 9 months ago in March with my friend. We were going on this trip in New Hampshire and going to see the White Mountains, and it didn't work out that well because I got stuck in the snow and the gates were closed and it was a mess. You can go back and watch that video. But today we have a route planned through the White Mountains. We're just gonna kind of shoot through there. It's a scenic route. I believe it's Route 16. And we'll shoot through that route and go right up to Maine, and we'll finally enter the North Maine Woods. So we have about, I wanna say 6.5 hours of driving left to do. But other than that, I wanna get out of here, get going, get this day started so we can get to North Maine Woods in decent time tonight so we can make some steaks.
With that in mind, we hit the road to sightsee, but not without a quick stop to a very familiar place.
Brenton has the extra here. Okay, we came back to a historic spot for Brenton.
Yeah.
So show us this historic spot.
So back in March when I was up here, I decided to drive up here and camp because all the off-road camping was closed because I was an idiot and I didn't check. So we had like a foot of snow here, and I started on the road right down there and just gunned it up here. And this was my 5th time trying to get up here, and I just kept spinning. And I was about to go back down, and I gave it one more shot, and I just kicked my back end right into this ditch over here. And then I just kept sliding into this tree. So
you think it was that tree?
I think it was that tree.
That tree. So you left a beauty mark on the FJ.
And that it was. As we made our way north, the colors became way more vibrant than expected, as it was a dry year, and that typically means dull foliage. After a quick fill-up, the journey into the North Maine Woods began. We drove 15 miles to our first planned site and started setting up camp.
I'll go up and grab the awning because we probably want that out tonight. Yeah. Last night I didn't care about that.
You say that, and all it takes is one of my fuel lines inside the left. Sure. All my diesel just dumps in the ground.
Mornings like this are what it's all about. The calmness mixed with the anticipation of what the day will bring makes for a great start to the day. But many things need to be done to prep for the day, starting with food. This is my dad, a huge supporter and the reason I got into vehicles. And because he spent a lot of his life working on vehicles, it makes him the perfect person to join us on this overland journey. Cleaning up camp can take a while sometimes, especially on a trip when you're not in the groove of things yet. This is why we're taking our time and making sure that it is done right. No need to rush, even though we're excited to hit the trails.
What are you working on?
I'm fixing the Jeep.
What happened to it?
Oh, this little vacuum line. You know.
Ah, I see.
It's for the fuel shut off.
Oh, okay. So that's why you have to hit this thing?
I have to currently hit the stop.
Ah, that'll do it.
So I'm documenting the only, I mean, to be honest though, to get from Pennsylvania to Maine, we didn't mess with this thing at all.
Yeah. No, it did good.
I noticed that as I was shutting it off, it got progressively longer for it to stop. And it uses vacuum to shut the engine off, so I'm gonna fix that little hose and we'll be good.
And just like that, we were off to the trails. Day one in the North Maine Woods consists of 50 miles on the planned route with a mix of dirt road driving and off-road trails. With our rigs full and ready for an adventure, we started down the path to our second camp location.
Alright, so then up here you want to take a right. This is Main Road. Sweet, thanks. Yeah, go for it.
Sort of concerning how they just like stacked extra metal rod, like that metal runs there to support it.
I saw a few videos where the guys that go to trails that look like they're fine and they go to the bridges and they're just like nothing left, so they have to turn around and go all the way back. It's pretty funny.
Kind of makes sense. I mean, there's so much land here. How would you even keep track of all of it? And who keeps track of all of it?
Little did we know what the rest of the day had in store, and after a few hours of dirt roads and some trail sections, we were about to embark on a trail I had found on accident and planned into our trip, just thinking that it was a quick mountain loop. We drove up the mountain for a few miles and realized that it is an unused path, but after scouting with the drone, we decided to push forward.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to drive over that. Yikes. Wow. Alright, so we've been down this crazy trail up here. I didn't even know it was a trail. I was on Gaia and I was just looking around and it looked like a cool trail through the woods. We've been like cutting brush and everything. It's been pretty bad. It looks like nobody's been on it, but I think we have to turn around. I think there's no other option. This really risks the vehicles, so I don't think this is worth it. It's a little bridge right here that used to be a bridge, but probably should not ever be used again. So
yeah, that was a bridge.
at some point.
At some point, that was a bridge. And
Yeah, there's no way. You can literally bounce on this thing. Oh god.
Jeez, don't fall.
All right, well, we should probably make this move before it gets too rainy. Looks like a storm's coming.
After turning back and leaving to meet up with the road that the trail was supposed to lead us, we quickly discovered that the road did not exist anymore. Nevertheless, we pulled out the maps and looked for another route to our campsite.
So maybe it is the other one.
And we came back around.
But that would just take us... Well, we could go...
Doesn't look like there's anything there necessarily.
Because it doesn't show up on here, but it's still in the same direction. So I wonder if they cut...
You're taking us on another shortcut.
Yeah, essentially. We're going on another road trip.
Have fun.
Nice!
After forging our way through an area with no roads, we came across a mud bog and was ready to put the new tires to the test. Fortunately for us, the mud bog seemed to be better than we thought it was.
Stay right.
This thing away and drive up over.
High center.
But then we would not...
But we would have a
there's-
real issue on the inside.
With another dead-end road, we found our plan demolished for a total of 4 times that first day and were ready to get to the campsite. Fortunately, we found a nice dirt road to bring us right to the site.
All right, you're up. Good, good, good. Hold that.
Here's sticks.
Day 2 brought us a beautiful view along the lake. We still had a lot of gas in the tank, even after overshooting our planned mileage by 20 or so miles. But either way, I wanted to remove some weight off of the mount that was only intended for 2 rotopacks.
Verdict.
Oh, we'll go through. It's easy. A lot of rocks. But yeah, this is apparently a named path. And this is what we get. This is our main road here. So hopefully it keeps going.
I've never seen roads. It's just like brush the whole way. It's like 10 feet tall on either side. Crazy.
All right, so I think I found a main road, but again, this whole trip I've been saying there's main roads, and this is apparently a main road too. So we'll find out if these are actually roads we can drive on this time.
So you're not taking us on some weird track?
I cannot promise that. No, I cannot promise anything at this point. It's all over the place. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, no, it's cool. Day 2 consisted of 70 plus miles of dirt road driving and trail driving, along with some sightseeing. The main attraction that day were the ghost trains, and these trains were used in the 1920s to haul logs between the lakes for a few years before being left to rot away. That is also one of the only locations that we got to see a large amount of people in one area. Most of the time we go hours without seeing anybody. Drive for that day began in search of a cool campsite I'd heard about, only to find that it did not exist. Instead, we decided to settle on a subpar location when we stumbled upon something way better. It's kind of funny how this stuff happens, isn't it? One minute you're frustrated, and the next you end up in a spot like this. So as you guys saw, this is day 2 of the North Maine Woods, and it has been epic so far. And as you've seen over the past few days, it's been a little rough. There's been a lot of curveballs thrown and a lot of different routes we had to take that I hadn't planned on. So as far as fuel goes on day 2, we're looking decent. We're at half. I already emptied 2 rotor packs this morning. I'm gonna empty 2 more tonight, and that'll be it. And we have about 110 miles to the next gas station. So I think as long as we don't get caught up in any bad trails, we should be good. The trail we took here tonight is going to be the main trail to
head to Baxter, which is where we're gonna go tomorrow and stay at this place south of Baxter. As we were traveling today, I couldn't help but think of one word that kind of describes northern Maine, and I think it's unappreciated. People never really talk about this place, and it is absolutely beautiful. As you saw tonight, this campsite is amazing. We basically have an almost 360 view of the area. It's incredible. The lake, the mountains, the sunset was crazy. But for now, we're gonna set the tents up, make some food, and probably just call it a night, get an early start in the morning.
The reason I'm gonna say it's a moose is because it's so big. Oh hey. Yeah, like it's really far out there. I would say 300 yards. There's nothing else around right now. Yeah, right now. Not yet.
That's coming.
That's crazy.
You done with
Alright,
them?
so I'm done with them. Yep.
Man.
Dude, like look through this again.
Doing trade? It's rolling.
Just like look at the ground.
Oh wow, you can see everything.
Before heading into Maine, I joked about seeing the northern lights, not actually thinking it would happen. As I stared into the distance that night, I thought I saw them and was able to confirm using Jared's night vision binoculars. It was honestly a very surreal experience.
They go even crazier. Yeah. It's so cool.
Wow. They're getting even like brighter on camera too.
Oh, they're about to smell like diesel then too.
I don't believe in accidents. Everything has a purpose. That being said, no matter how hard I could have planned, I wouldn't have landed here. See, the one thing that this trip has taught me is that planning only gets you so far. You can't plan for random failure, much less an epic location. In fact, that is the sole purpose of Overland. You need to be self-reliant and prepared, but no amount of planning will make an adventure get executed perfectly. And that is what I'm learning to enjoy.
So we are less than 2 miles from Baxter.
Gotcha.
As day 3 began, we had another 70 plus miles ahead of us. A lot of easy driving to get into Baxter State Park, home of Mount Katahdin, and our final destination. The views were epic and the long bumpy drive allowed us time to enjoy. final obstacle reminded me a lot of PA, a perfectly fine road that was gated off, forcing us to backtrack and find a different way into Baxter. I much prefer actual obstacles or collapsed bridges like over the past few days over a gated road, but either way, we still rolled into Baxter with daylight to spare. This is the last day in the North Maine Woods, and as you can see right now, Mount Katahdin is behind me. And we made it out of the North Maine Woods, I would say around 2 p.m. We had some issues today. You can see I didn't film much today of the actual driving because in my opinion, it was just main roads, pretty boring, standard main roads. Essentially, this was the third day of issues in the North Maine Woods, which is normal apparently because every single day we've had some road blockages, bridges out, or, you know, I decided to take us on some shortcuts and they weren't shortcuts. So we've had that too. So my plan was originally to go into the top of Baxter State Forest. And as you saw, we couldn't get any further. They blocked off 2 roads. So we got, I want to say, halfway into Baxter State Park and we couldn't go anywhere. So we had to turn all the way back around, probably do 20, 30 miles extra just to get back out and back on the main roads to get back down here. That did strain our gas a little bit. And honestly, I've been worried about that the past like 2 days. The first day when we went an extra like 30 miles, I was like, oh man, it's gonna throw us off for the rest of the trip. But then the next day we did an extra like 20 miles, and then today we probably did an extra, I don't know, 20, 30 miles. In the end, it all worked out. The FJ had, I wanna say, a little bit below half, and the TDXJ had a little over half, so we're actually perfectly fine. But I thought with all those setbacks that we'd have some issues as far as fuel goes. I did get some cool drone shots of Mount Katahdin in the distance, so that was cool, but I'm glad we're here tonight. If you know the area, this is Abel Bridge Campground, and there's actually a bridge in front of me here. You can't see it, but you can get the whole view of Mount Katahdin. It is beautiful, it's amazing. But we're staying here because in this area, there's not many places to do dispersed camping or overlanding. As far as tonight goes, we're gonna get dinner, get to bed in good time, and probably get up early and kind of tour Baxter State Forest. I'm really excited to do that. And then for tomorrow night, we're actually gonna find a spot, probably in the Green Mountains of Vermont, to kind of split the journey in half. So that way it's kind of 6 hours tomorrow and 6 hours the next day. You won't really see much of Vermont as we're not really gonna be there for long. We're gonna be there for a night and we're gonna head immediately the next morning to go home. And then once we get to PA, it's probably not gonna be even started at all. I know when we left, which was like 6 days ago, there wasn't much started. There was a little bit started, and I think it might be still probably a week until it actually starts, and probably another 2 or 3 weeks till it gets to peak. And then I'm gonna go back out in the mountains of PA and do some more exploring. But I think Maine probably won this year for foliage because you can't really beat this. You can't beat the area in the middle of nowhere, which I've never been that far from civilization. At the one point, I think we were about 100, 150 miles out from the nearest town, and it was amazing. You saw the campsite last night. That was incredible. The best campsite I've ever had. But enough talking, let's make dinner, and I'll see you guys in the morning.
What's the verdict?
Oh, that's awesome.
Good?
Very good. It smells like root beer, but it doesn't taste like it. So
Nah, it's the maple. What do you think?
it's good. I like it.
The freeze dried.
After some quick exploring in Baxter, it was time to air up and hit the road, signifying the end of an epic journey through the North Maine Woods. And after spending a few days off grid, I've learned a lot, like what I need to add or change to the FJ, and most importantly, nothing is an accident. Plan for the unplanned.
What was your PSI there?
That was about 53, and I need 45. I kind of got talking.
This is what happens when we talk and try to film.
Yeah, you kind of overinflate your tires, so don't do that. Don't talk.
Kids, don't be like Brenton.
Don't talk too much.
It's actually my fault. 'Cause I was over
Yeah,
there filming you.